difficulties. Are we live? Are we rolling? Yeah, we are. I see it bouncing. Hey, you want to grab that ashtray with the cigarettes in it? And we'll put it between us right here. Nice.
I wasn't, but hello, good people. I think we're all right.
Are we live? Are we live? Are we live?
It says excellent.
Check.
I don't really know.
All right. Last night I was up on this thing a
It
little
says
closer.
stop streaming, so we must be streaming. What's up, everybody?
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the Outhouse.
Where we're gonna talk some shit about some shit. Talking shit about shit, you know.
Outside of the chicken coop.
And special guest today, Larry, playing as my older brother.
All right. Standing in for himself.
I think, yeah, it's gonna be a damn good show.
It's going to be a real good show. So, how do you want to start? Do you want to talk about how you and me met?
Sure.
So, the first time I met Tom was whenever my band first got going, Infernal Descent. Yes. And it was put on my shoulders to let Tom know that Mikey was coming to our band full time. And whenever I went down and met Tom, he was jamming out with our drummer. And
But he was singing.
yeah, that's right. That's right. It was.
And I was a
different.
drummer, and I was playing guitar. And the whole time in this band, we couldn't find a drummer. We paid hell trying to find a drummer.
And Tom was rocking out. It was awesome because like he was the real show. Everybody else was. He was just the best part of the show. And whenever we let him know that hey, Mikey's gonna be jamming with us pretty much full time, it didn't seem to affect his show at all. Your show just went on like you didn't hear what I said. You just kept rocking out, man. It was awesome. And I was like, we need to get that guy in our band. And they're like, oh, no. He don't do death metal. He don't do black metal, man. He just does rock and roll.
Yeah, fucking hell. That guy don't play that shit right there.
And then after that, we just saw each other kind of, I don't know, at parties and stuff, I guess, for a minute.
Hanging around and about the way.
But we were always in the same circles and the periphery of those same circles, too.
And one of the best circles was Doug's basement. If you guys know what I'm talking about, then
Oh,
you know what
yeah.
I'm talking about. And if you don't, well, that's a whole
You missed
other
out,
story.
right? That's a whole other podcast,
Yeah.
man. We should do. That's a great idea. We should do that.
There you
Have a
go.
reunion with the guys.
Yeah, no shit.
So, like, you've been involved in music for a while. This isn't like your first gig. What we're doing here,
Oh, no.
even close to it. Like you've been how? Well, you know what? We'll get into that in just a second. I'm gonna put on my glasses for this. So I
Putting
can
on
read
his
it.
reading
I
glasses.
actually wrote real questions.
Guys, remember,
So-
there's our people.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna
Look at me, look at them.
hit you with some good ones, man, and I'm gonna jog your memory. And we're going way back. So, like, when did you first realize that you loved music, man? How old were you?
Man, I don't know. I guess it was really young because it would have been mom playing records, freaking
Yeah,
ABBA,
Beatles
Beatles,
Elton John.
Elton
all kinds
John,
of shit.
Olivia
Yeah,
Newton-John,
some of that.
all
All
kind
of
of
it.
shit, man.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I mean, very diverse musically.
But I was playing guitar in 75, 76, and you was 4 or 5 years old. You was already in it,
I was 3.
you know. From
So-
right off the bat.
So,
man.
what's the age difference between you two?
6 years.
6 years.
But
So, you were really young.
yeah.
So,
All
And then
our
like I got all
cousins.
the hand-me-down
Yeah.
records and 8-tracks. And
Cassettes and
8 tracks.
by the time we got into cassettes, though, I pretty much was starting to, get them myself.
beat up acoustic
What was your
Which-
first
guitars. And
cassette
My
that you
first cassette was Queen the Game.
Oh, yeah.
Dun, dun,
that
dun,
album.
dun, 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 dun. I love that album. I had one of those little tape recorders where you hit play and record the little Oh yeah.
What was your first
I played
8-track?
the hell out of that.
What was your first 8-track that you remember?
First 8-track?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. They was all hand me down, so it wasn't like.
None of them stuck out.
Nah.
I had all the Kiss. I had the whole Kiss.
Now I probably had
collection.
a couple Kiss because them guys was listening to Kiss for sure.
I got into Kiss real hard.
Old Eric Waller, he was the big Kiss fan.
Yeah, he had them all.
Nice. So your family's real musical. Where's that come from?
I guess from the granddads and shit.
I mean,
My
does
grandpa
it go all the way
played
back?
Piano and
Both
organ
grandpas
church.
did.
Yeah,
other
both
grandpa
grandpa
did too.
See, I didn't know much about the other grandpa. He passed away when I was like 4 years old or something. Grandpa Dalo,
So you guys, did you always have music in the house
Oh,
playing?
pretty much.
Oh yeah. And then our older cousins, Rick, he was playing Rush. He's about, I don't even know, 4 or 5 years older than me.
That's
And
another.
He was playing Rush when I was a kid. You know,
And, you know, and like
working
Van
man,
Halen. Right, we were talking about Van Halen earlier. Whenever the first
Oh,
Van
shit.
Halen
yeah.
came
Van
out.
Halen
remember
came
that,
out
boy.
in
That was the-
'78.
That was the
That was
shit.
Actually, I remember the spring of '78, walking down to the store and buying the Gods Meatloaf Bad Out of Hell and the
Yeah,
Gods Rock
the
and Roll
Meatloaf-
Machine. My
Meatloaf.
first 2 albums that I bought.
Oh, dude, huge influence on me.
But that was in the spring of '78. But then
I don't know how he remembers fucking dates like that. Bro,
Because-
I swear.
because my when you're born in any of the fives, I was born in '65. So I was first grade was 71, second grade was 72. It helps me remember all that
Right.
shit.
Holds
But
it together.
anyway, spring of '78, walked down and bought those 2 albums. Van Halen came out several months later, and that was all she wrote, man. I was like, fuck
Wow.
everybody else. Van Halen was the shit. Yeah, Van
You
Halen.
got all quiet on me. Did your amp die?
yeah,
Our background music, that's Alexander the Great back there. But
yeah, his battery seems to be going out. Well, you're on the
Switch
camera there,
guitars,
but you're not on the
yeah.
camera with us right now, bud. So that second screen can't
see,
can't
right
see you.
now, we don't have no techs here right now, so that's why I had to walk in on a. But you'd be switching
Yeah, we
cameras,
can't
but it
be
is
reaching
what
up.
it is.
You know what though? What if we put it right there?
Well, we could, but then we got to move everything. That's what
Ah,
the
yeah,
pain in the
yeah,
ass
yeah,
is.
you're right, you're
Everything's
right.
hooked up and
I feel
whatever,
you.
whatnot. We just need our peoples.
That's right. We're taking
Anybody,
We need
we're-
interns.
Yes, we're
We need interns.
we're taking laughifications.
Can't pay you, you know, but you'll get some real experience,
Instead
hands
of an
on.
application, it's a laughification.
So, did you have any kind of like real like formal training? Did you ever have like guitar lessons?
Nope.
Or
The
did
only
you get 'em
lessons I
from
ever
Larry?
had was vocal.
Really?
Yeah. And
Like-
other than Larry, like, here, dummy, this the chord right here. Why don't you understand why?
What kind of formal vocal training did you have?
From the guy that used to own Belden Village Music, he was a really good vocal teacher. He had excellent vocals, and he taught guitar and piano and all kinds of other stuff.
How old were you when you did that?
I would have been. That was back in 2000.
Because you got to have your nuts screwed on pretty tight to be a singer, man. You
Five.
can't hide behind an instrument or anything. It's all
Yeah,
you.
well, what that deal was is why I took lessons is because I got this bright idea to, hey man, let's do a couple Alice in Chains acoustic songs off the Unplugged set,
And
right?
it's all those harmonies.
Right. And it's like, all right, well, we started jamming, and then me and my cousin and our old bass player Daryl, and we started jamming, and we started getting pretty good at it. We was pretty decent. We was doing a whole Unplugged set. We got to look at the camera, guys. That's where it's at.
You.
I'm sitting there looking at you, and these guys are like, what?
That's all right. That's over. You guys were tight.
Yeah, well, so how it turned out is we ended up, a band called Soul Device was buddies of ours. They was like a metal band. They had a gig down in Kentucky, and the opening act canceled out. And we was like, you know what? Shit, we'll go down there and open up for you, even though we don't have a drummer. We'll still come down and we'll do this acoustic thing and rock it out. We went down there, played our set. Their drummer was like, hey, you guys need a drummer? Well, it just so happens to be we need a drummer. So he joined up with us, and then we started learning the rest of the tunes and went out and did our thing. But then when I got to that point, coming back to what you said about them harmonies, it's like I could sing, but I wasn't dialed in. So I was like, man, when you doing Alice in Chains, you can't be fucking around. You got
Gotta
to
get it
have
right.
that right.
That's
you know what I
right.
mean? So I went in and took some vocal lessons, and he kind of was like, okay. And
That's
I got
awesome.
a little bit better. And
Now, were you in like choir in school?
no, nothing like that, which is dumb because I should have took theater and all that stuff because that's where I ended up anyway.
Right.
I just didn't know.
Took the long way.
Because what happened when I was a kid, when I was in like, what I want to say, second grade or something, first grade, the band teacher, I wanted to be on drums or whatever, and you know they gave me a snare drum here practice, and it just wasn't really cutting it. I didn't get it really. I wasn't really book smart on it. So the teacher told my mom, "Oh, well, this kid's never going to be able to play drums. You might as well get him out of this class or whatever." I was like, "You motherfucker, watch this." So needless to say, drums was my first instrument.
Okay.
And then played drums for the longest time, like 14 years old till 13, 14, till I don't know when. Then Larry moved back from Texas, and we got a band and started playing. Then I got all these ideas, and I'm like, here, play this riff. What riff? You know what I mean? It's like, oh. So I was like, damn, I gotta learn some chords so I can be like, here's the chords to what I'm trying to tell you. So that's what got me playing guitar.
Now you
Before
guys,
the Alice in Chains. That's when I ended up being in a band with Mikey.
right? And we're gonna get to that in a
But
minute.
even back before that, on a drums thing, I was down in Texas. I recorded myself playing a Rush tune. I don't even know what it was.
It was 2112.
What year was it?
Yeah, I'd have to think about it. That would have been
This guy over
I was
here.
that'd have been
Okay.
86.
Nice, good
So
year.
anyway,
That's
I
13.
sent him myself playing just a guitar. Here, this motherfucker puts it on a speaker, has me playing and plays with it. The drums, sends it back.
Re-records it.
Nice.
Re-records it. I'm sitting there listening to this thing. I'm like, man, them guys are good. I was like, whoever he's got playing guitar, that motherfucker's doing it perfect. You know.
Now, there's 6 years between you guys, so like, did you look up to Larry when you were
Well,
coming
of
up in the
course.
music? Like, was he like one of your idols?
Well, yeah, because on top of that, of course, my dad left and went to Texas when I was like 5 years old, and then he didn't move to Texas till years later. So really, it was like he was the only one I had. You know, I didn't have a dad. I had him. You know, what I
Right.
mean? Him and
Man.
my other cousins, right?
Oh, it's all right, man. I understand so much now.
Right. I'm all right.
Oh man. Now,
Right.
you weren't in the band at school at all?
No,
Did you take any like music lessons at school where they like you had to pass? Like
I had
you
a
didn't
class,
like the flutophone was it?
but no, I didn't.
The recorder.
A music class that I didn't really get to because you had to learn how to read and write music, and I couldn't even read and write English, let alone music.
What was your very first band that you like fell in love with?
Ooh.
And like it could
It
be
would've
like
probably-
multi-answer. It
it
could be
would've-
more than one.
It would have had to be like Rush, probably because I was a drummer, so it was probably Rush. But Van Halen, them was my two favorites.
Wow.
If it wasn't Rush or Van Halen, I ain't even trying to hear it.
So like you considered yourself a drummer first.
Oh yeah, that's what my
I
first.
never
instrument
knew
was.
that about you, man.
That's my first
Oh,
instrument.
yeah,
Now, see, I always thought you were a guitar player first, vocalist second, and drummer as just a
No,
joke.
I played drums. That was my first instrument.
Wow, I had no idea, dude,
And
because you
then
never
Randy
played drums
Rhoads,
around me, really.
Some of that Randy Rhoads stuff. We was all into that.
Now, how did that affect you guys, like Randy Rhoads, like that time period?
Changed everything.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
right? You know, I mean,
Yeah.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
now, do you remember what your very first band name was that you had?
My
'Cause-
very first band.
Yep.
Heavy Artillery.
Oh, yep, yeah. Officially, yeah.
Heavy Artillery. Do you remember what year it was and how old you were?
That was 1991.
91, yeah.
So, wow, I was a junior in high school. So that was your first band. See, I was wanting to get in a band. That's when I was hanging out at Skanky's.
And that band, we had a hell of a time trying to find a singer. And what's funny about that band is
Oh, that dude.
New Wave Nation guys.
Oh,
They
yeah.
wasn't that. They was called Painted Angel
Painted
back
Angel,
then.
yeah, yeah.
They opened up for us. We rented Kenmore Hall. We had a big old concert with shitty ass equipment. It was great.
And my
though.
Marshall just blared.
Oh,
It was
it was
ugly. It was
terrible.
horrible.
Shitty sound, shitty equipment. It was a blast.
Every show's still fun.
Yeah.
It was a blast, dude. We was on the big stage for our first show.
But what about that Chris dude? We had a singer.
Dude.
This dude was
Ahead
death
of his
metal
time,
before
man.
there was death metal. We didn't
He
even.
was ahead of his time.
He was so far ahead of his time, but we ended up kicking him out. And if we'd have kept him, we would have been so far ahead of the game.
It's
man.
funny how that
he was
goes.
good, but we was stupid, really.
It's
I
funny how
forget
that
what was
goes.
his last name.
Chris Volk,
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, he was. He was
Sorry, buddy. If you're out
Yeah.
there and you end up seeing this, man, we
he was
fucked
all
up.
right. Yep. We had no
We
idea.
didn't know, man. We was too into Boston
it
and
was-
Rush.
It was his fault. He
We
didn't
was
have
like-
good communication
Yeah,
skills
that's
to
true.
convince us.
Now, you guys are real close. I've seen it, especially here since we've been doing this stuff. And like,
Right, mate.
my brothers and I will finish each other's sentences. We're all 4 and above. So like when we're in a crowd of people, we're heads above. We'll just look at each other and give each other a look and just laugh when we're in a big room, you know. You guys are kind of the same way. So like, was there any like not fun times, like sibling rivalry type shit, where you guys like big brother, little brother shit?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, more than I'd like to discuss. There was some evil
Anything
shit.
good? Anything good come to mind?
Wow.
That's okay.
Anything good come to
Any good stories
mind?
as far as sibling rivalry? And it doesn't have to necessarily.
Yeah.
be, you
I'm
know,
trying to
big
think.
brother
He
holding you
was-
down. Why are you hitting yourself, Tom? Why are you hitting
Oh,
yourself?
it was always
Oh, it was
shit.
always that
That
stuff.
was every day.
It was 6 years apart, so he was a lot smaller than us.
The
you
one
know.
thing I still got PTSD from, the fucking guy used to wake me up in the morning for school, grab my feet, lift them up, bow, hit the bottom of my feet. I'd come right up out the bed, boy.
Well, that's because it'd be like, Tom, wake up. Tom, wake up.
You wake up like me.
Fucking over and over and over. He would not get out of bed.
I could never stay up late neither. Everybody watching Saturday Night Live and all. I was
No,
done,
it wasn't
man.
on Saturday.
10
That was
o'clock.
Big Chuck and
Or,
Houlihan
yeah,
back
yeah,
then.
That's what you said too the other night. You were saying that.
Jeez.
Now, were you guys in the same bands to a point, and then, or
No,
was
just,
Larry just ahead of you and out
Yeah.
doing his own thing, and you were just
Pretty
kind of
much.
coming up
We
behind
did
him?
that first band, and then, because Little Crazy was going on the same time as Wicked Lester.
I always
Area
liked that name.
51. We wasn't. Was we in that together at some point?
no,
I joined right after you guys.
Yeah.
bailed, yeah. on
because
that
that's
one.
why they got you guys.
Okay. So
Because-
yeah, we was touch and go kind of, but we always did the family thing, you know. We always had.
Can you name all the bands that you've been in?
Yeah, Heavy Artillery, Little Crazy,
Area 51.
Area 51. Almost couldn't think of that
I
one.
remember that name.
Oh, you know what?
I was in both of
There was
those.
Kind of the same dudes called Severed Nerve. That
Oh
we
yeah, that
changed
was
the
Chuck. Yeah.
Name. 420,
Nice.
which there's the band tag thing here. Grab me that leaf thing there. Yeah, unclip it.
That's called memorabilia.
Our band
That's
pass.
antique. Be careful. It might be worth
Yeah,
$1,000.
you never know. There's our band pass. And
That's pretty cool.
can't see it for the light.
You can see through it.
Yeah, that was the cool
420.
thing.
Yeah,
is
I
that's
never
why
heard of that one.
that's what I called them. I said that's how you know they're authentic, because if you throw up the light and you see the leaf.
That's awesome, man.
We actually played out to that Metal Fest thing. That was when Frank McNutt wouldn't let Soul Device finish because it all kind of went late and all this crazy stuff. He kind of got shitty, and we was like, dude, we'll pay you extra, man. Just let them finish their set. They only had like 6 songs to go. He was like, nope.
Where was
shut
that
it
at?
down. That was out somewhere out in like Minerva area.
Yeah, I think I was at that show. It was outdoors at like a stage, and then everybody parked around it and
Yep,
everything.
yep.
they wanted me to be security at that. And I'm talking about Doug's earlier. They're like, hey, you're security. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't want that responsibility tonight. And I tossed the shirt over to Howard, and Howard wore it all night. It was headed security the whole night.
Yeah, I bet nobody was messing around.
Nobody messed with
Ugly
anybody,
son of a
right?
bitch. Probably, hey, you faggot, come here.
Oh, man. You don't want to cross Howard,
It's like,
man. He would just
Jesus,
berate
guy, calm
you.
down.
That wasn't Brimstock, was it? Or did you guys play that?
No, we didn't play that,
Brim
but it
Fest.
might have been in the same spot though. Was that you went back between two ponds way back?
Uh-huh.
R.I.P.H., by the way.
With
Had a
the curves
stage,
and shit?
yeah, had a stage built that was followed the ground. It was unlevel. I was
Was
like,
there
dude,
railroad
are you
ties
kidding?
behind it? Like it stepped down
Probably it was
behind the
it's-
house?
Yeah, it was kind of like behind.
was
had a
set
hill
back.
behind it, kind of a thing.
That
Yep,
sounds
that's
like
it.
that.
And it had like a big field that kind of went up from what I remember, if I remember right, because people were kind of parked up that way because we parked along the wood line. I remember.
Right, because it had like a big ass field.
Because I remember we came by and
People
some,
was
a bunch of people were
putting
having
tents
sex
up.
in the back of a van at one
Yeah.
point. I was like, whoa, this
Girls
is
running
that kind of
around
party.
naked here and there. I was like, whoa, okay, yeah.
So what were your like biggest musical influences besides Rush?
Rush,
Like
Van Halen.
As far as like you personally, not just what you listen to, but like what you really listen to.
Yeah, that was what I really listened to. I like. Let me think. Trying to think back.
You're real technical. Did you ever follow any of like the classical or the jazz drummers? You know, the big names in any of those
No, I
other
mean,
genres?
Not really. Like obviously Led Zeppelin and all that kind of stuff, and
Right?
with the big drummers.
Because
or
it's funny
whatever.
because you guys fall into those styles so easily, which is why I ask. I mean, even like Jimmy.
Like really, I had a small. Even though I listened to all that stuff when I was a kid, when I got old enough to start listening to like really knowing what music was, I didn't care to hear nothing else. I was like in this broad, narrow spot.
Right.
Like I didn't like,
Right.
If
Right.
It ain't Rush, ain't Van Halen,
It sucks, right?
Although I
You
did,
did a little bit of the 80s metal.
yeah. I mean, of
Rat
course.
and-
Yeah, I loved Rat. That's my first
that was-
cassette out of the
That
cellar.
was my first concert down
Really?
in Abilene, Texas, dude. And that right there, when I went and seen that, that's what changed my life, dude.
Robin
That's when I was
Crosby.
like, that's what I want to do right there.
Right?
I was like,
Oh,
that's it.
yeah.
We down there is
Lay it
general
down.
admission, dude.
Oh.
So we was right on the
Oh,
stage,
yeah.
dude. And then I think we came back to Ohio like 3 days later or something after that show. My freaking ears was still ringing.
People
bro.
ripped on Rat, but like Invasion of
Nah,
Your
man,
Privacy
They killed
Oh,
it,
it was
man.
good.
was
It
a great album
great.
end to end. Like it had
Oh,
the
it
power
was.
ballads,
Yeah,
it
it was,
had the
yeah.
rock and roll, it had it all. Lay it down, man. That was great.
But also like who was I getting ready to say? Of course, Metallica.
Oh yeah.
I used to like them, and that's a whole nother podcast.
Well, they cut their hair. After they cut their hair, it was all over,
whole
right?
Another podcast. Yes,
The
I've
Black
worked for 'em,
Album.
man. Fuck you guys.
That's right, you did. And we'll get to that in a
Yeah,
minute
that's
too.
why I said that's a whole nother podcast there.
Now, how many bands were you in, Larry? Too many to list? Because
Too
you
many
got.
to remember, probably 12, 15, something.
What were the big ones?
Wicked Lester, Thunderstruck, these last couple here. Teaser did well for 10 years.
And you're a little older, so like, what were your musical influences? Like, who really like?
Same. Yeah,
same?
Yep. Rush, Van Halen, Ozzy with Randy Rhoads.
Did you get any of
Sabbath,
the?
Judas Priest.
Did you get into any of the '60s stuff, or
Not
any of the
much.
earlier stuff because
Nope.
of your age?
Now I do
No.
like the Beatles. I
I-
guess.
Oh, I
they
love
would
the
be-
Beatles.
I liked them, but no, I never learned any. No Hendrix, none of that stuff.
Wow, that's amazing. I
Uh-huh.
would have thought. Yeah. How about Clapton?
No, I never learned any.
Which blows me away because every time I hear you play, I'm like, you sound more
what's-
and more like Clapton every time
Yeah.
I hear you.
You know, it's apparently Van Halen's biggest. He claims his biggest influence was Clapton,
Wow.
and like
That's wild to
Van
think.
Halen's licks are kind of like sped up Clapton licks, and I learned a ton of Van Halen, so maybe I'm,
Wow.
And then
That's-
By proxy.
when I went to that classic rock band, I kind of had to tone it down. I was more of a metal shredder thing, and I had to tone it down for 10 years, and so it kind of morphed into more of a Clapton
Right.
thing. As a matter of fact, I was playing a Clapton song, "Wonderful Tonight." They're out there slow dancing and shit, and I'm sitting up there like, fuck, and I was like, and then we get to the end of the song, and I do a little something, right?
Right.
way too much for the song. It was stupid, right? Just the ending. And my bass player like kind of laughed at me, and I was like, yeah, that was kind of. I was like, I better tone it down from here out, you know. And then from there on, I just kind of relearned my pentatonics and just kind of took it.
Well,
easy.
you respect the music because you're a real technical type of player from the conversations we've had. Like you're one of the guys that can really talk about theory and know what the hell he's saying. Because a lot of people, it is just theory. They like to say theory, but they don't know what they're talking about. But you do. You guys are both multilingual with instruments, right? So like you play like several. So like what all do you play?
I play the drums, the guitar. Look, I got to think about it.
Right? Because there are a few.
I can play the bass, sing, if that's what you want to call it. Most things with strings, I can kind of finagle my way into. Oh, there's some chords, or there's some, you know, whatever. I can kind of pick it up, but that's about it. I want to learn how to play the keys like Jimmy's badass on my son. Jimmy.
Well, you should be able to. Jimmy will probably be able to show you because
Yeah.
that's percussion related and you're a drummer. So if you're a drummer first, you got it.
And you know, not that we want to be like any of those other guys. I would never tell you guys to like, subscribe, and share, and hit the notification bell. I would never do that.
That bell. That bell. Don't hit the bell.
You'll never hear us asking you to do that on this show.
Now, this was a good one the other night, and I think it's a good one. How close have you been to musical success? And what do you consider success?
Well, I would say musical success is something, if you get paid to do what you do and you love it and you can sustain life, then that's success. You don't have to be
successful.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying you're rich and famous, but
you can make a living,
make a living,
pay the bills, and
you know what I mean,
enjoy
and
life.
not have to, you know what I mean, struggle from paycheck to paycheck. You know what I mean? If you could just, and that's, most musicians just want that. They don't really want to be, I mean, some do, don't get me wrong, be rich and famous, but most of us just want to put our art out there for other people to
Right,
enjoy.
and like that's the right answer, to be financially sustaining and successful from what you love doing. But what's the artistic answer for you? What are you looking for?
The artistic answer.
As
What
far
the
as the
hell
music,
does that mean?
as far as the music, the theory side of things, like we were talking about the other night, what are you striving for? What are you looking for?
I do not understand. In music?
Yeah. What do you find in music that keeps you going in it like you do?
You know,
in all the levels that you do, because now you're older.
well, here's the
and
thing.
like you just said earlier, my voice is like, oh, after doing that the other night, and we're older, and now we've kind of turned around and we're on that other side where we're trying to get and push the other guys up, you know, that are coming up doing it.
Right. Well, if one thing I haven't learned in the last 20 or so years, and really it has became in the last couple years, that I am more of a performer than a musician. I love to perform. It doesn't matter what it is. I can act. I can do this. I love all aspects of it. You know, obviously I was a stagehand for almost 20 years, setting up all the big bands and the big venues and all that shit. You know, so it's just like, I just love all aspects of me. I'm a listener. I'm a maker, creator. You know what I mean? I can create the music, and I also sit on the other side of the fence and listen to it also.
That's right. You mix it down, and you do
You know what I mean?
all
Well,
of
as
the...
a fan, too, not just this side of it, as far as being a musician or any of the technical side. I'm also a fan of music. Like I can sit and put on Better Off Dead, Wicked Lester CD and listen to the whole thing and be like, damn, that was a good CD. You know what I mean?
Right.
Without
Dissecting it.
yeah, getting, you know, not being this part, being the musician, so to say. I'm just a fan.
Right.
See, I can separate myself from that,
Right.
I guess.
That's an interesting answer, man.
Which I think makes me good at being able to pick out good music also. It makes me be able to, like, produce good music, too. Because I kind of know what...
You've played a lot of shows over the years, like a lot of just gigs. Any idea on a number? Both of you.
Oh,
Me?
he's got way more.
I've played
than me.
over 1,000.
Wow.
Yeah, I
'Cause
ain't got
I
nothing
was in-
near that.
Teaser for 10 years, and we played almost every weekend, sometimes Friday and Saturday.
Right.
And then I had the other couple other bands, Thunderstruck, and then the other, filling in for guys. And a 10-year period, I bet you Teaser itself played 500 gigs, man.
Dedication.
I wouldn't doubt, but yeah, there's been a lot of.
What about you, Home Slice?
Man, I don't know. Probably the Alice in Chains tribute was where we played the most gigs.
I saw you down at that LGBTQ bar, and you were doing
Yeah.
that Chuck Berry
No,
thing down the
it
bar,
was
knocking
just
shit over.
Just a lesbian bar. It didn't have all the rest of them
No,
pronouns.
not all the
and all
them
that
rest
shit.
Oh, that's right,
letters.
that's
it was,
right.
It was just the L's.
What was it called? Do you remember the name of the bar?
The Side Street Cafe.
Cafe.
Them ladies
Shout
were so
out.
much
They
fun,
freaking
man.
loved us.
We was
bro.
the only straight
I had
guys.
a good
allowed in
time
the
down
bar.
there, man, when I came and seen you guys play.
It was great, dude. We thought we wasn't never going to be allowed in there
The
again.
very first gig.
First gig. 'Cause
Crank it up to 11.
Tom met him, and they're like, "Hey, you want to come down and play at the 7th anniversary?" And we're like, "Sure, let's go check it out." So we go down and look. All right, here's the stage.
Well, because they didn't have very good PA shit, and we had half decent. Like, oh, okay, man,
We'll bring the
you
PA.
let us play. Well, you know what I mean?
Right.
One of them
We'll run
deals.
sound.
That's awesome.
They're like,
So-
all right, cool.
So they're like,
you
"Well, let's
gotta
go
do.
in the men's bathroom and hit this joint here." I'm like, "Oh, that's what the men's bathroom's for. We're gonna put the PA right here by the men's bathroom door." So we know every time somebody goes in there, we know what's going on.
going
Right.
on.
So the first one, this girl comes out and she beautiful voice. Her uncle's playing guitar, kind of mellower stuff. This guy plays keyboards like Barry Manilow, real mellow.
Yeah,
The
right.
ladies that he knew, they were great, but they was kind of mellower. I was like, man, they're gonna fucking hate us. man.
Right.
They're never having us back. then the band Crotch, it was kind of a punk band. I remember they was
The
they
band
were
was
on a
called
rock-
Crotch.
I can't even
Yeah,
remember.
Crotch.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's a
Remember
great
her?
name.
They were
I
girls.
remember. Yep.
And then
Now I
finally-
remember.
Then they
Opening up for the
It was
Dalo
younger
brothers will be
girls.
Crotch.
We had Marshall half stacks in this little bar.
Oh, and then it was Heidi and Uncle. What's her
Yeah,
name?
that's what I said with
Oh,
acoustic,
okay, yeah.
beautiful voice. She was
Yeah.
great.
Your cousins played there too, right?
N-
We were talking, you and I. The
I
Pink
don't
Floyd.
think they did the first.
Who
one.
was
Maybe
the-
they did
Maybe
the
we
first
played a couple times. I think they did once.
I seen a
I
Pink
think so,
Floyd
not the
acoustic
first time.
tribute
Yeah,
there.
that
But
was
so,
them guys, but it wasn't a Pink
we come
Floyd
out there-
tribute, They was just playing.
I said,
Now,
look,
see, someone said it was Floyd that night, which is why I went.
oh yeah, they said, how did that go? Oh, they're never gonna have us back, man. I said, let's just crank up the amps and
do what we
rip their
do.
faces off, man. We did.
Do what we
Man, that first song, we hit that first chord, and that place lit up.
Brawls went flying,
Oh, my
buddy. It
God.
was like, what?
What was
Oh
the
my
first
God,
song?
It
Do
was
you remember?
a blast, dude.
Remember what the first
Love
song
that.
was, Larry?
Yeah, it would have been On a Mission because it starts out like kicks him right in the
Oh,
face
man.
right
Oh,
off
that's
the
awesome.
bat, dude.
That's killer.
We like come out busting through the door. Boom! Here we are, grinding, buddy. And they was like, "Oh shit,
That was good
yeah!" It was like, "Oh, okay." And then I started this tradition where I'd go all the way to the back side of the bar and jump up on the bar and walk the bar all the way back towards the stage doing the solo in this
I
one
see it.
tune. And then after I did it the first time, they expected it every time, dude. And they'd move glasses and shit because I'd be knocking shit over.
I
going
seen
up
the
through
first
there.
wave when you were knocking all the martini glasses over. It was great.
And-
It was
and then-
great. Priceless.
And then
That's
like
great.
maybe like the third or fourth time we played in there, then they had a thing going. I don't know if any of you guys out there ever remember Bear Creek where they'd put the ties up on the ceiling out there. Well, these chicks started doing that with bras.
Panties too, yeah.
And then look at this guy, he just dips out on the show. So just for shits and giggles, I had yeah, my girl at the time get a bra that would fit me, and I was like 135 pounds with no titties, so it was almost it was like a training bra with no cup size and all this stuff. But she ended up finding one somewhere, and
Second set.
I went into the bathroom and she put it all on, got it all on there and shit. And them guys started the song. I come out the bathroom with the guitar playing, and these chicks
Oh, they
lost
wouldn't
it, dude.
We did too because
They-
we didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't
Fuck 'em.
tell nobody. It was a big surprise to everybody. And they're like, what the fuck? And let me tell you, them chicks stuffed dollars and
Oh,
fives and 20s
they
down
was
at the
fighting
whole
over that-
time.
over
And
that
at the
ball.
end of the night, after I pulled out all the money and put it in my pocket, I took this thing off and I had 3. I was giving it to him to donate for the ceiling, and the bar owner and 2 other chicks was fighting over it. That's mine. No, he's giving it to me. Nah, man, I want that. And I'm like, whoa, this is crazy.
Now-
It was good times, boy.
Is that around the time that you like became the singer?
No, that's when I was still. I didn't become a singer until I joined Gas Band the first time, and that was just because Daryl was down there jamming. And, hey man, what? I was like, shit, I'll come down and try it. You know, I can do backup vocals, so hell, you know, I went down there. I didn't do too bad, and kind of grown a little bit from there. Then we played out a lot up at Sadie's and wherever
And
else.
I think I
Chuck's
might have
Steakhouse.
seen you there a
I'm
couple
sure.
times because I went there all the time.
We was
man.
playing out pretty good, and then
What year
I
was
don't know
that?
Oh.
Do you remember?
Boy, you killing me.
I know, man.
That would be probably, it would have been the late 90s, 98-ish, 99.
Yeah,
I'm
right
thinking.
around the time I
Nah,
met
It
you.
was after
No,
that.
was
It
it?
was after that because right around 2000 was when you moved out of the farm and ended up. You guys was
Oh.
jamming over there on 33rd Street. That was around.
But that
so-
was still a little crazy, though.
right.
That
so it was
wasn't
past
gas.
2000.
Oh, well, see, this guy over here with his dates.
There you go. That's
you
right,
go.
man. We know who to go to, man, for that stuff, man. And then when did you become DJ Dalo? Because that was like a big switch. You know, you went from like talking about playing out all the time and the band stuff, and you may have been doing that, but I didn't really know you as a band guy then. Like I just knew you as DJ Dalo. Like that was your thing. You were online and you were doing podcasts before they were
Oh, I
called
was
podcasts.
way
You
ahead
were
of my
way
time,
like what
dude.
year was that?
That would have been 2007 to 2009, I believe.
Because I know it was after my divorce because we came and did all those
Because-
phone pranks.
I had a buddy come up, hey man, I'm doing this thing, you know. He goes, I think you do pretty good at it. I'm like, oh yeah, what? You know, we're doing this internet radio thing, you know, blah blah blah. I was like, shit, I'll check it out. And it was a dude called Firestorm Radio, which I think he's
That's
still
right.
going.
That's right. I remember that.
So I got on there, and these guys was like, you get on there and they'd broadcast, you know, onto the microphone. It sounded like they was broadcasting through one of them little plastic ones.
Right, right.
Them computer. I was like, what the hell's going on? So of course I got, you know, like these, you know what I
went
mean?
pro.
And I the very first like bumpers and tags and shit I made. And, I mean, the first time I went on air, the owner was like, dude, what kind of microphone you using? I was like, a broadcast microphone. What are you talking about?
What are
Aren't
you
we
using?
broadcasting? Yeah. Like, what the fuck you mean? And he's like, well, how are you doing it? How are you going into the computer? I'm like, well, I'm going from the microphone into my soundboard and going from my soundboard into the computer. Why? Well, man, this sounds like you're on a real radio. I said, imagine that. Like, what do you want it to sound like? You guys, are you crazy? So I ended up making all their commercials and all the bumpers and all that stuff.
You got
And,
quite an archive.
I ended up tweaking them guys in while they was online. I'd be in the chat room, turn up your lows, back your mid-range off a little bit, blah, 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 and dialing them in while they was, you know, doing that. So I did that for quite a while, and I had I rented a whole house over on 12th Street beside the Sparta Lounge, a sponsor. I had the downstairs and the upstairs, where the upstairs was my studio. And I had like all the stuff set into one room, and it had French doors that went out into what would be in a normal house, like the dining room, I guess it would be. And that's where I had all the band stuff at. And then the other room with the stuff, I had like this coffee table and a couch and all this with a bunch of microphones and the headphones. Our band comes in, do the interviews, and then have them go out and play some live shit right on the air, right there on the spot.
Like what we're doing now.
Yeah, kind of like what we're doing, just no visuals. It was just, you know, radio. You know,
Radio, right.
Internet radio thing.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, and I was killing it. And it would take, I'd build this dude's shit up all summer long, and then we'd take a break for Christmas, and he'd put on Barry Manilow's Christmas crap, and we'd lose all of our, because we're supposed to be like this
Building up
rock
an
and
audience,
metal
right.
station, right? And then Christmas time comes and you put this shit on it. These people don't want to hear that, whether it's Christmas or not.
They hear it all day.
We'd lose all of them. We wouldn't have nothing because we'd know how many listeners we had. We'd lose every single one. Then I'd spend a whole spring, summer, and fall
Building it up again.
back up for him to do that again. And I did that like 2 years. And then dude got me in. He went to another place called Metalhead Radio. Went there, and they was killer. They had the website all up, chat box. They had all kinds of shit going on. I was like,
Right.
oh, shit, this is cool. You know what I mean? So we get in there, and my show was the metal show. I
Right.
played all kinds of metal,
I remember.
mostly shit you would definitely not hear on the radio.
Right.
And I had bands from all over the world sending me their shit, CDs and
I remember.
music files.
You were
got it
really
all.
like on your way up.
Right. And so this dude was like one of the regular people that listens, and he's in the chat box, and I did a Saturday, Sunday, and a Tuesday show, and I believe it was a Saturday night, and I was getting ready to go on. I just went on, and this dude's talking about, hey man, can I make a request in the chat? And I'm like, yeah, dude, you can make a request. That's what I'm here for. What you got? Hey man, can you play some Godsmack? I was like, wait, what? Godsmack? I was like, dude, if you go to your local radio station and tune into your local 98 point something or another, I guarantee you'll hear Godsmack. He goes, you motherfucker, you don't know nothing about music. You all you do is listen to that screaming shit, you dumbass, blah, blah, blah. It's like, bro,
Haters,
hold
trolls.
the phone.
Right.
I'm like, listen, dude, first of all, Godsmack is one of my favorite bands. I have all their CDs.
That's
I
true.
have
You
all
do
their
like that band.
DVDs, and I've worked for them 3 fucking times, bro. Who you talking to? You know what I mean? And I kind
This
of,
is a metal show.
yeah,
That's
and
right.
that's what I said, and that's exactly what I said. I said, this is a metal show. If you got some kind of metal, dude, I'll put it right on. But I'm not going to play something that you can go to the radio station and listen to.
That's right.
That's exactly what I'm not doing.
There's a
That's why
difference.
I'm here, to play shit you can't hear on the radio.
And metalheads will agree because we were talking about narrow vision earlier, still broad but kind of narrow. Metalheads are that way.
Yeah.
I was in that scene. I
Absolutely.
was in a black death metal band. I was the singer, and I know because I heard it all the time. If you would talk about something outside that genre, they'd look at you like you were a damn leper.
Right.
What, you're listening to that? Ugh, they'd screw their face all
Right.
up. I'd give them a heart attack and tell them, yeah, I was listening to Marvin Gaye earlier, Oh, by the way, we're covering a Madonna song, I mean, they would lose it. They'd lose it.
And it wasn't really, to be honest with you, my narrow mind didn't really, I started liking, Godsmack, Alice in Chains, and whatever.
Emperor, In
or whatever. I
Flames.
didn't start liking none of that shit till I was over there at Doug's.
Immortal,
But-
right. We got exposed to a whole scene.
So, but what I was getting at was, what was I getting at?
Godsmack.
No, I was, it wasn't until I became a stagehand and actually setting these bands up and watching them is when my broadening horizons went whoom. Because, like, for instance, one of the artists that I set up that completely blew my fucking shoes right off my feet, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing, was Justin Timberlake.
Professional.
That dude is unfreaking believable.
There's
dude.
something that's
His
just
show, his production, his voice, his skills, dude, is
Mad.
oh,
Right.
You said
man.
light years
Justin
ahead.
Snoop Dogg too. You said it had a whole band.
Oh
and all
yeah,
that.
yeah, and then all those guys out there that think that all those rappers and shit are just record scratchers, you're wrong. The old school dudes, they all got bands. They're real bands back there. They do got a dude up there that's making the scratching, but they got real bands. All them old dudes do. The old school rappers, Snoop, even Lil Wayne had a band.
Now, getting into that, because we're going into it organically anyway, when did you start doing the stage
was
setups and working with the artists?
2006.
So, and you're still active. You're in the union, right? Or
No,
whatever.
I'm not right now.
You're not active right now?
Mm.
Okay. When was your last show? What year? Was it recent?
It was 2019, the summer, the end of the summer. My last show was Rascal Flats.
So you went for a minute. So, like, and really, go ahead. Feel free to name drop, man. Like, who was fun to work with? Like, you told me Jimmy Page
Toby
earlier.
Oh, yeah, Toby Keith was a blast. He's something else. Every time he got off the stage, we'd be standing back there by the trucks and the buses and shit, just waiting for the show to go down because I was a rigger, so we got to wait till everybody clears the stage before we can bring the stuff down. And this guy would come walking off the stage, and he would see me, and he'd beeline right over, and he'd go like, "Where's the weed?" He did that 3 times, right? So I was like, all right, I got you, bro. So I rolled this fucking joint that was the size of this bottle, right? And he come off the stage, I think it was 2019. It was that summer. He come off the stage sideways. They was carrying him to the buses. And where I normally stand by the trucks, there's a ramp that goes up towards the buses up in the parking lot. And he normally came this way. And because they was basically carrying him, they went up the other way. And I was like, oh, I finally had one for him, and he went the other way. But I met him the first time in catering, actually. I was down there, and I went up to get a pop, and he was standing at the pop machine. I think he was even getting water or something, or maybe, I don't know. And we started bullshit. Hey, how's it going? Good day, yeah. Be like, great day to be on the pond, right? Oh, yeah, and on and on and on. And then the production lady came like, hey, TK, I got to have you come here and look at this. He's like, all right, hey, man, have a good day. All right. He takes off, and I'm like, TK. I was like, damn, I think that was Toby Keith. And then later on, of course, that was the first, time I ever worked for him.
Right. How many times did you work for him?
Oh, man, a lot.
Because you had a lot of his shirts.
Yeah, I probably, from 2006 to 19, every time he came through. Yeah, so.
And did you did you go to like multiple venues, or were you just out of that one place?
Multiple venues. I did everything in Canton, Akron, and Cleveland.
Okay. And you got to tell the Jimmy Page story, man.
All right, so if you go on YouTube and type in Hall of Fame induction ceremony, train kept a rolling, and watch that, there's actually a clip where you can see this much of me on the left side in this window. Look, this is a great story. So the shit's going on, right?
Right.
And I
the real shit,
yeah,
man.
I mean, they're filming, you know what I mean?
Icons.
And what my job was to put Jimmy Page's amp on and off, him and Jeff Beck all day. That's all I do is put their amps on and off. So I was there. I was in the circle, right? So while the show's actually going on, there's these like window things or whatever, and I come walking out and I peek down and I look out, and then I stand back up and I'm standing there. And literally, like 10 seconds later, this dude comes, hey, you're in the shot. Get out of here. You can't be in here. I'm like, I acted all stupid like I didn't know it. I knew exactly what I was doing. I was in the shot, bro. It was hilarious. But no, Jimmy Page that dude is awesome. Look, like, I tried to get a pick from the guitar tech, and he's like, man, I'm sorry. He goes, I can't give you a pick. I'm like, come on, man. Please give me a pick, please. Well, apparently, whatever compound they use to make his picks, they don't have no more. Something in them.
Right.
So Jimmy Page is now buying his picks back off of eBay for ridiculous prices and shit.
Oh, wow.
He's just getting them.
Just to get them.
Every time they pop up, he's got his boys on it. And he's getting them back. So
buyers and stuff.
he wouldn't come up off of no picks. And then, of course, Jeff Beck don't use no picks because I try. But he's
Tell
got
that one, too. That's a good one.
Man, I can't do that.
That is a good one, though, baby.
Man, I don't know if I can. All right. So
you could just, tidy it up.
All right. We won't say what band it came from.
There you go.
How about we do that?
There you go.
But this was a different show, but the same induction ceremony. Okay, we done with the Jimmy Page? No, okay, no, we're not.
That's right. Finish that out.
So, I'm in there, and we do the rehearsals the day before and all that shit. And during rehearsals, of course, Jimmy Page, you know what I mean?
Right.
Are you kidding me right now?
Right.
Are you kidding me right now?
I know, man.
I was freaking out, dude. Like, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe, like,
starstruck.
I was big starstruck, but I was still keeping my cool, you know what I mean? I was oh, you can't, don't act stupid, dummy.
Right.
Don't do it.
They got people
don't
kissing
do it.
their
But
ass all day. Don't be that guy.
I kind of jumped on his nuts a little bit because I was like, hey, man.
Dude, I lost my virginity to that song.
Yeah. I was like, thank you for all the years of the great music, man. You're a big influence on myself. I was like, man, great music all around. And he was like, thanks. And he kind of like punched me in my gut. And I was like, oh, I said, I'm never going to watch that again. And he cracked up laughing. He was like, oh, shit. But I did get to hold his Sunburst guitar and play it. And if you watch on that show, at some point he picks up this electric 12-string.
So you got to play his guitar.
Oh, yeah.
So that means you picked up
I
his
picked
skin
it up.
cells, and they're in you.
Dude,
He's
I
in
got
you.
Dude, I got his sweat towel, bro. I got it in the studio. Yeah, bro. I usually what do you call that when they do the sword to the dub motherfuckers?
Right.
With the sweat towel, the guitar players that usually come in or whatever. But yeah, I had 3 of them. And Craig Reed, the Stone Roadie show, if you guys don't know, it's all about Skinner. He was in the plane crash stuff. Go check that out on YouTube. But he ended up selling 2 of those back because I had 3 of them. They was on top of his amp. And I kept the one that he used, obviously, and the other 2 was unused.
And then you were right
He sold them
there
on eBay.
while they played that.
Oh,
night.
yeah.
I mean, you had the best
fucking
seat in the house,
yeah,
man.
I mean, I was right there. Stage right.
All right,
left
now,
side.
and then you said you asked Jeff Beck for a pick.
I
Or his
didn't
tech.
no,
You
not
asked his
him.
tech
I asked
for a
his
pick.
tech, yeah.
And
And
then
he
what do you-
laughed at me and was like, Jeff Beck don't use picks. I was like, okay. And then so, like the next time we did one, which is 2 or whatever years, because they alternate between us and New York, we was taking a certain band's drum kit on stage so they could perform, and I seen a pile of picks laying there. And I thought they was a pile of picks from that particular band. And I was like, ooh, whoosh, threw them in my pocket and off. We put the drum set in it and we doing work, whatever. And then I go back to the bathroom after I'm done to check out what I got. And I pull it out, and lo and behold, it was one of those band members' personal pick stash.
Right.
And guess what was in there?
What?
A pick that said Jeff Beck. And on the other side, doesn't use guitar picks.
Ah!
Still
That's
got it
awesome,
right up
man.
there,
Now,
man.
what's one that I haven't heard? Because I heard all 3 of those stories. As far as like, and some people are just a-holes. We know that. And they're prima donnas. And
Oh,
they're
here's
used...
a good one. Your favorite band, one of your good bands.
Oh,
The
you're
Cure.
going to kill me, right? Oh.
These motherfuckers, these old bastards think they're still somebody. And behind
They are. I love them. I
at
love
Blossom,
them.
backstage where the
I
trucks
just listened
are
to Disintegration last week like
and the
3
buses
times.
are. There's like in between if you guys have ever been to
Plain
Boston,
Song.
if you're
Plain
looking at
Song
the
is
thing
still
on the
like one of the
right-hand
most
side
awesome
with the
songs of all
VIP,
time.
Back in there, there's
I love
this
Wild
big
Mood
ass
Swings.
metal gate, right? These guys made all of us stagehands. Now, mind you, us stagehands is work for people that's like, you know, who do you think you are? That's walked up and shook our hands and said, thank you for fucking setting our shit up.
Right.
These dudes make us go behind the gate and lock the gate so they can go from the stage to the buses. All the stagehands, because we usually all hang out right there by the trucks.
Right.
Right outside the
So they wanted
right
total privacy.
total, yeah.
Lockdown.
It's like, are you kidding me?
How big was the band? How many? I mean, was it like a big entourage, or was it just the?
It was just the
5 or
band
6
or
dudes.
whatever. Yeah, whatever it was, and like their stage manager or whatever that has the dude with the flashlight that always
Right.
see.
Now, as far as like setting up, who was a big pain in the ass? Like you weren't doing it right.
Not doing it right.
Yeah.
That
Anybody
don't
ever get
happen.
on you about like not doing it the way they like it?
Well, yeah, because you know every show's different, and you gotta wait. You
Oh.
know they got their ways to do certain things. There's only
That time with the spotlight and the fucking thing was cutting out and
yeah,
shit.
dude.
Nice!
Dude was yelling. That's a good story.
Huey Lewis, bro. Look. Oh my God, that was some shit. So up at Northfield Park,
Shout
Huey
out.
Lewis was there.
We want a suite.
Yeah, right. And hey Dalo, can you run Spotlight? Yeah, I can run Spotlight.
I was born to do that.
Right.
They give you cues in the.
Yeah, so you most of the
The
time
headset.
the call comms are the two headphones.
It's
you know, with
real,
the
right.
microphone. You know what I mean? And the light director, he's like, you know, they usually go spot number 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then gels A, B, C, D, and E, and all this shit. But I think they had theirs like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. I think the numbers were the same or something weird.
Pre-DMX.
But then they only had one ear thing. The other ear was open, right? And before when we was they was all still setting everything up and all that shit. We all had to go up there, put them on, make sure everything was working. We get up there, light director hits the button. He's like, I'm like, damn, dude. I was like, I can't hear shit you're saying, bro. Your output is so high, you got to turn it down. It's like, I can't hear nothing, dude. Okay, ain't nothing we can do about it. It needs to be this loud so when the band playing, I can barely make out what he's saying. I'm like, fuck. Like, dude, I'm telling you, I go back. I'm like, dude, you're going to have to turn the gain down that you're sending me. I can't hear you. It's like, it's distorting out so bad, I can't do it. And all that. Okay. So, of course, I'm Huey. They put me, the dude that can't hear, on the main guy spotlight. I'm like, are you kidding me? Okay. So the whole freaking show, this dude's calling shit, and I can't hear nothing he's saying. He's spot one, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, oh, turn it off. Because, he goes back behind the drums, and I'm like, oh. And when he would turn the button off, I could hear him yelling at the sound guy, this motherfucker's a dumbass. He can't fucking follow directions whatsoever. I could faintly hear him crystal clear. I could hear that dude I was like, dude, why don't you just talk like you're talking? I can hear every word you're saying. Like, you don't need to hit the button. I was like, oh, man, I completely fucked that whole show up. It was great.
That's awesome, dude. So I'm going to just say it this way. You guys are both quite the Casanova, okay? Both of you love the ladies.
That's the rooster there, even though I'm the cock of the walk.
On the subject of groupies, hey, is there a number that you're willing to admit?
They all like that dick juice, so. Here's your number. We getting crazy over here.
You guys
ain't got no alcohol either.
In the game for a minute. And those girls are always hanging out after the show. I love it. No one's willing to go on the record. That's awesome. That's so like this silence is like speaking volumes, right? They're both gentlemen. Do you think that women
kiss and tell.
Do you think women in general complicate the whole band process 100%. As far as like no wives allowed? Is that a good policy?
You gotta finish that shit 100%. It's always a complication, one way or another. Because you know what? If you're a musician and you're trying to do what you do, then you're really not. It's hard to be a good parent because you need to spend time being a parent, but yet you need to spend time being a musician. Unless
spend time with your muse.
Unless you're a musician that only wants to get together on Saturday night with your buddies and drink some beers and shit. Then it don't matter.
That's
but if you're trying to make something of yourself, it's hard to be a serious musician when you're about trying to be serious father. You know what I'm saying?
Sacrifice.
Yeah. I mean, that is
true sacrifice for your
because all my kids. Sometimes I look back and be like, "Damn, man, I spent all this money and time on all this shit. I could have had been out four-wheeling and shit like everybody else."
Yeah, but you're a creator. You're not like everybody else. Well, it's different. It's totally different.
That's the curse.
Right, and it is. It's a curse and a blessing. You're absolutely right. But you're Jimmy. All your kids, man, they got your musical stuff.
Well, his too.
Right.
I mean, Brandon's out there in L.A. doing movie scores. Shit.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's really in your blood. It's like in your DNA. Absolutely. All right. So, like drugs, a lot of musicians, use them for creative purposes. Did you ever pick up a habit or find, drugs in general, man? Did you ever experiment?
Oh yeah.
For the sake of your art. For the creative process.
Not really for the sake of the art.
Never dropped a little tab and then tried to see if you could write something.
I could never even do
it. Although
I tried it.
We did that one night out there at John's. Remember when that dude had that new drum kit out there? Because we was in this big ass trailer and two bands was practicing out there. And dude brought this brand new drum kit, bad some bitch, and we come out there and drop some acid. And we beat the hell out of the drums, and we played for hours, like till the sun came up, dude. I wish we'd have had some recordings of that shit. That'd have been some Frank Zappa crazy shit if you ever heard some. You don't remember that?
I barely, yeah.
And then because Sean came down, and we was
remember
all
that drum
tripping, and
set.
he didn't even have none. And by the end of the night, he was tripping, and he didn't even have no acid. He was like on one. Just we called it acid fumes. It just leaked over into the people that didn't even have none that was there.
That was from that British girl down in Texas.
Now,
I
you
think
know,
I'm breathing acid fumes.
Acid fumes.
Acid fumes. What was her name? Sophia Pigeon. Yeah, she was cool, man.
you meet so many cool people whenever you're playing out.
Drew
I
was her
mean-
husband's name. He was a cool bass player.
Oh, Sammy Hagar was an outstanding person to me. He hugged me and shit. Sammy, you're the best.
What made him outstanding to work
He's
with?
just so down to earth. I met him.
You said that the other day in passing, and you never elaborated. So.
Yeah, I met him like 3 or 4 times the one day. He was doing that when he was doing that country. He was in the middle of all them country bands. Not Kenny Chesney. Dude's married to that other country lady, Jeep dude.
McGraw?
Yeah, Tim McGraw. It was a big ass stadium show.
Right, big.
Tim McGraw, Leanne Rhymes, Chesney might have been. Keith Urban was there because I met him and what's her name?
Is he as nice as everybody
Oh,
says?
he's really cool. Yep. He's real cool. And that dude's a fantastic guitar player. The first time I ever worked for him was at the Q, and he got done with their last song that was on their set, and I think he went in. I'm almost positive it was an AC/DC song. And the crowd went crazy. And I'm telling you what, he played them solos and shit, note for note, perfect. And then he went into another, like, I feel like it was like Sweet Child of Mine or some shit, and played it all the way through. And then he went into another song. And then, like, by the 4th song, the Tex was running around backstage. Son of a bitch. Damn it, he's doing it again. Oh, man. I'm like, what's going on? He goes, oh, this son of a bitch will get in one of these moods. And he goes, we don't know how long he's going to play. He'll play for an hour, maybe 2 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. He played an hour over his show, nothing but cover songs after his set, dude. It was fantastic. And he fucking played them note for note. It was badass, dude. I was like, what? Dude. I mean, that's when I realized he was badass. But yeah, back to that other show, Sammy. Yeah, he'd come through. I ended up stopping him twice coming through on his golf cart because we was moving shit. And I'd be like, Sammy, and fist bump and all this shit, and blah blah blah. But then I seen him. We was coiling up some cables, and I'd been there like mega hours, and it was me and Ray Gay. Shout out Ray, and we was the last 2. They said, wind up this cable, bring the box back to the truck, and you guys are
You're
done.
out, right.
Yeah. So we're winding this up, and as I look up, Sammy's standing there about, I don't know, 10 feet away or something like that. I'm like, Ray. I was like, damn, there's Sammy Hagar right there, dude. He was like, yeah. He goes, we got to get this box. I said, fuck that box, man. I'm going to talk to Sammy, bro.
Sammy!
I've been wanting to do this all my life, bro. I just knew I was someday going to talk to him. You know what I mean? I just knew it.
Right.
And just when we was getting the last bit of the cable up, all these fresh dudes come up. I was like, here you guys go. This goes to the truck. Send it on. I walked right over. What's up, Sammy? Started talking to him. And then I talked to him about, we went and seen the OU812 tour, the Monsters of Rock.
I love that album.
The Monsters of Rock tour in Dallas.
Dallas Cotton Bowl.
Nice.
And that day, Sammy's voice was messed up. And they said they was going to do a free show or whatever. And then obviously I was just there for the summer, so moved back to Ohio. And then a couple years later, they ended up doing a free show. It's like, damn, you know what I mean?
I
Right.
think they did it after I moved back.
Yeah, because actually you didn't even need it, because Sammy was like, hold your ticket stubs or whatever, but they just did it downtown Dallas, and it was just a free show. And I was telling him, I was like, yeah, man, he's blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, I was in catering. I said, I heard some of your set. I was like, they had you pumped in like a monitor feed dry. And I said, sound like you was having a little trouble tonight too. He was like, yeah, it was a little dry. He goes, but fuck it. He goes, I was having a great time. I said, that's all that matters, man. And, you know, it was this and that and the other. And I said the same thing, man. Hey, man, thanks for all the great years of great music. And he was like, hugged me.
That's awesome.
Sent me on my way. Gon' get.
I had I think it was a I Can't Drive 55. It was a full-size poster. It was huge. My dad gave it to me. Some guy at work gave it to him. And it was him with a parachute, I think, and that logo. That was in the early 80s. What year did that song come out?
Which one?
You'd know.
Yeah.
I Can't Drive 55.
Ooh, that
was a big hit.
That was like 88-ish, wouldn't have been, or something.
Really?
That'd be a good guess.
I would guess 86 or 85. But maybe I don't know. That's something we'll have to ask the phone.
If we had our people here, we'd be like, hey, but we don't have no people.
So we could run a list. Did you do Pink Floyd? Or David Gilmour is really...
I did the other dude, the Wall dude. What's the other guy that don't like him anymore?
Oh, man. You know what? It's sad. Roger Waters.
Roger Waters, yeah.
I'm sorry. We're running a lot of names tonight, buddy.
Yeah, him.
How about Linkin Park?
No.
With Chester.
I did go to their show.
Soundgarden?
No.
Pearl Jam?
No.
Alice in Chains?
Yes.
The new one?
Yes.
I hate to say that, but I have to differentiate.
Yep. Absolutely.
Alice Cooper is a huge influence on me, baby. How about Alice?
Yep. Alice Cooper, them, Uriah Heep, and I forget who the other. That was the first show. My daughter Jamie that was running camera on our first show.
Right,
the
she's
Chicken
awesome.
Coop Live.
That's right.
That was her first real concert.
Oh, yeah.
Uncle Alice.
Because I had some tickets, and when that dude chopped his head off, she freaked the fuck right out, dude. She was like, Dad, he chopped his head off. I was like, I know, man. He's done.
We got to get out of here.
Yep.
That's awesome. You know, Priest and Alice Cooper co-headline and flip-flopped every night. And the night I saw him, Priest opened for Alice Cooper.
Oh, man,
And
that's
that was
awesome.
the first time, and I wasn't really a fan. I did like some of his songs, but man, when you see that show live,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
a fan.
You know,
That's
Billion
good.
Dollar
Oh,
Babies.
yeah.
Oh, he's amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
I mean, they got a lot of good songs. I was a little on the heavier side, and but yeah, he made a believer out of me for sure.
You did a lot of big shows. Did you ever do any small shows?
Mm-hmm.
Like real, like intimate things that maybe weren't as broadcast.
We did a lot of shows for Q92,
Oh, yeah, Q92,
or the modern
yeah.
bands and stuff, and trying to remember all the names would be
Right.
impossible. But they strip them down to acoustic shows and
Most of them. Yeah.
and just a couple of the band members and
Right.
like 100. They give away 100 tickets, radio fans
Right.
and stuff, and we'd set up the shows and.
Did you kiss?
Yeah. In fact, there's a story on that one too.
Oh, I got to hear it because I love Gene Simmons. He was the other poster on my wall.
So when they came to Blossom, you know how Paul Stanley rides that ring all the way out?
yeah, right.
So at Blossom, if you've ever been in the pavilion and you look up,
Yeah, I've never
just-
been in it, but I've
it's
seen
just
it.
those round tubes, you know what I mean?
Right.
And in order for them to put that up, we got to crawl out there and rig that shit.
Right.
And,
Somebody's got to set it
and
up.
there's no safety wires.
Oh, heights.
We got harnesses, but you got to use two of them. You got to put one on, and then take a step and unlatch the one, put the other one on, take
It's a
a step. Yeah, two. Boom, boom, boom. Where we've been bitching at them guys for years to put a thing there we could clip and kind of walk
Clip
it and
and
hold
go.
on. Yeah. No. Well, then we was trying to make a stand when Kiss got there. We was like, "Fuck you guys. We ain't going out there. We ain't doing it." They was like, "What do you mean? He's got to have." Well, we're tired of, it's a fucking serious risk for us to go out there because here's the thing. You could go out there and you're harnessed off. Cool. Okay, so you slip and you fall and you're hanging there on your harness. Guess what?
You're hanging there on your harness.
You're hanging there. On your harness. You can't get a fire truck
What's a
in
fail
there.
safe?
You
Right.
you can't get a lift in there.
Oh, it's like that scene in that movie. Cut it. Just cut it.
Right. And
Yeah.
you're
Dying
freaking,
your harness and shit.
60 feet in the air
Yeah,
or whatever
right.
it is, or probably even higher
Yeah,
right there.
70, 80, I think.
And 20 minutes in, if you ain't out of that harness, it's going to start fucking you up.
Well,
So
sure.
we actually had to start taking safety courses to be able to save somebody in case that happens.
Well, that's a good thing. Then
So,
something good came out of it at least.
So
Yes.
we was like, nope, we ain't doing it. We ain't doing it. And then this one dude finally stepped up. Oh, I'll do it. We're like, you son of a bitch. So he goes out there and he does it. So when they do the show and all that shit, then at the end of the night, well, hey, you guys got to go up there and get that shit. Well, no, we don't. You got to go get dude that went up there and got shit. And guess what? He's on another show. So
man.
I don't know what you guys are going to do. So what happened was is Kiss's head rigger had to go up there and do it because we was like, nah. Because dude's gone and we ain't doing it.
We ain't getting hazard pay.
Dude went up there to get them motors down. He come back down. He goes, fuck that. He goes, I almost left the one motor. He goes, now I know why you guys didn't want to do that. Exactly, bro. That's some scary shit being up there and you're on this round pipe holding on. You know
Show
what I mean?
must go on.
My first rigging gig that I did to get broke in was evicting the damn bird nests out of the very, very top of the shit at Blossom.
Oh, wow.
We had to use like a fucking 10-foot piece of conduit that had a hook on it that's up. If you go to Blossom, you look up and they got these chandeliers hanging there and they got these metal things. And that's what I'm talking about because the orchestra don't want no birds chirping when they stop playing. So and let me tell you what,
into
there
their
was 7
French horns while they're blowing.
there was 8 of us, and we all went up, and we didn't even go all the way up yet. We was right there above the clouds where I'm talking about, where we had to rig for Kiss, and 2 of them dudes went back, down and gone. They was like, nope. And me and my dude Adam Hoff, me and him went up there and did that shit, man.
Wow.
Me and him and a couple other dudes, and that was our first rigging thing, dude. And I'll never do it again. I'll tell you that.
Dedication.
That shit was scary as shit.
How about, I'm trying to think of who would have still been around that maybe isn't around now, like Tom Petty.
Yeah.
Really? Any
Got
good stories?
double paid for one of his shows.
Really?
Yeah, because they got there and they knew before they even got there that the guitar player was sick and wasn't going to play it.
Right.
But for they said it was an insurance thing that they had to go there and set the whole show up. So we get there, we set the whole show up, we take off. I'm coming down Route 8, get a call from my business agent. Hey, we need you guys to come back and tear this down. Like, what? Yeah, they just wanted to set it up so we could tear it back down so they could claim it on insurance. Like, oh, okay. Turn around, went right back up, tore it down, and then like a month later, they rescheduled it. So I got paid twice for the same show.
Now, as far as running the list too, we didn't really cover the like obvious metal ones. Like how about Maiden?
Yep.
Rat?
Yep.
Cinderella.
Did I work for them guys?
And did you work for any
I don't
obscure ones, like 80s ones that we all loved?
Huh?
Are there any other like obscure ones maybe that we all would have loved, you know, that you did that I'm overlooking? Because there's a bunch. There's a ton.
I'm sure.
Right.
I mean,
Any
it's hard.
standouts for
talking
you where you were on
band
the side of the stage, like with Jimmy Page, where it was a metal band you really dug? Rush.
Oh, I got me and my son and my old drummer kicked off a Rush's stage.
Really?
Yeah.
How?
Because we was standing, if you're looking at the stage left, we was standing stage right, like right where the dimmers and shit was. We was probably less than 20 feet away from the drums, and obviously we're all 3 drummers. So
right.
What had happened was this is how it happened.
That's a wet dream.
And had I would have known the dude that kicked us off the stage was one of these dudes, we would have never got kicked off the stage. We wasn't like on. We was like,
right.
you know, that we're the shadow,
the periphery.
Yeah, we was right at the edge of it. You know what I mean? A dude come up, you can't be on stage. We was like, oh,
well, look, I'm right here, dude.
Yeah, but so
you can't be making a scene.
I always had back in those days. I had really like pretty much the best weed around. And every time
it's a pretty good key.
Every time a show would come in, and it'd be like, "Where's the weed?" Everybody'd be like, "Go get all that guy." I have one of them bullets. You know what I mean?
Right.
They'd be like, "What, what is it?" You know, and these guys are off, California and all this other shit. So I'd be like, "Here, go check this out."
Right.
They come back. Oh yeah, man. Oh, how much? Yeah.
Right.
Blah blah. Yada yeah. I can get it for you. You know what I mean? Yada,
Remember that show we were at? And that guy walked up to you. And we were in the crowd, and he came up and took your bowl right out of your mouth, and you were on the other side watching. You know, never seen that happen before.
Yeah, I had one of those Zippo lighter bowls, We're at Blossom in the line.
A nice one.
And
This guy just came out of the crowd, out of a sea of people.
Like the security guy. He was like, grab my shit. And I'm wrestling with it. And he grabbed it. And I'm like, oh. And he went, click, and put it in his pocket.
And disappeared into the crowd.
Like,
we both were. I've never seen anything like that.
Kidding me?
Never seen.
But,
Oh, wow. Holy
see
cow,
how you
man.
interrupted
Weed,
me?
weed.
The story. Oh, so no, Rush. So, needless to say, the stage manager wanted some shit. And he was like, can you get it? Yeah. So I ended up getting a pretty significant amount for them guys. It was
Wow.
for a bunch of them.
That's crazy.
Which the dude that kicked me off the stage ended up being one of them.
Oh, man.
But I didn't know it until afterwards. But anyway, so dude hooked me up with some backstage passes.
Oh,
because his wife was the production manager, the stage manager. Dude.
Nice.
Itchy, if you're out there and you ever see this, thanks, bro. And then he hooked me up with these, what would it be, the production. So like when they come into town and they go into the production offices at Blossom or whatever,
right.
They hang these posters up. She gave me 2 of them. One was
nice.
They was badass, and
you still have them?
I have one of them. The other one I gave to a die hard Rush fan, and he about.
You were always good about that,
jizzed his shit
man.
down both
You would
legs.
ask us who we loved, and if they came through, you would do your best to get us a pick or something cool. You really, I'm not even going to elaborate, but you really hooked me up, dude. That was amazing.
And so yeah, I got them guys backstage and shit, and we was standing there while the show was going on, and dude's like, "You can't be on stage." So yeah, that was a good one.
MLE and anybody out that really left an impression?
Anybody that what?
That left an impression,
Oh,
musician-wise.
there's
I mean, there's
of
a
them,
lot, man.
Shit. Especially at those induction ceremony shows. I met a lot
Right,
of cats in
man.
those, man.
Like-
Because like you're backstage and them guys are wandering around everywhere. You know
Right,
what I mean? They ain't
right.
like it's like, dude, there's like Paul McCartney. You know what I mean? Oh my God, Ringo Starr. They was all. I was standing beside them guys. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, damn. In fact, the one where Guns N' Roses was and my son, they was messing with us and wouldn't give us our passes. So the dude that was running the show was like, well, you ain't coming on stage till you get your passes. And was like, okay. So we was sitting there waiting forever and shit. And all these guys are looking at us like, why ain't you working? And we're like, I don't pass, man.
Right.
And so when he finally took them guys to the office, they all went and he had me help these guys real quick with something. Then he said, come. So I helped them guys a couple minutes later, and I come busting through the crowd. I'm pretty sure it was show night, or it might have been rehearsals, but there was a bunch of dudes standing there. I'm like, come on, excuse me, pardon me. I'm busting
Right.
through. And I go in the office door, my son's like almost pure white, and he's like, I'm like, what? And he goes, that was Guns N' Roses on the outside of that door. And I open up the door and I look, and there's Slash and Axl wasn't there, but it was Miles Kennedy and Duff was on. And I like busted through them. Look out, come through. And I didn't even realize it was them. You know, I'm like moving them out of the way, trying to get to this office door.
Right.
I look back out. I was like, oh shit. It's like, oh well, I'm trying to do a job here. Get the hell out of my way.
Dude. All right, I'm going to wrap it up because we have been going for a minute now, and really I'm going to direct this at both of you guys, even though it's going to sound like probably more just towards you. But you've been on stage, and you've been backstage, and you've been off stage, and you've helped build the stage and tear down the stage and everything happening on stage. What's your favorite spot now that you're over 50 like me? And would it be the same as like when you were like a headstrong like 20-something? Like what would the difference be, between the two, do you think?
The difference is back then I probably wanted to be on a stage. Now I want to be in catering.
It's been the Outhouse, baby.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was awesome.
No, I don't know. Always, wanted to be that performing musician or whatever. But like I said, I'm more of a performer. But like in that business, honestly, I would probably like to be a drum tech.
Really?
Because really, other than the band, you're the last one on stage and the first one off stage.
How about you, old man? What's the difference between when you were 20 and 50 now? Has your outlook
Thank you
changed
guys
at
for
all?
checking us out and hanging
Or has
out.
it
Don't
just
forget
been
to-
kind of the same?
It is totally different from him because I never had that dream. I just love playing guitar, and me and the stereo could have a blast the rest of our life, or me and the computer now.
Right.
But he never really was able to convey that to me growing up. Like
I had a
the
vision,
dream.
man.
He
I
had
got a
vision.
vision.
I didn't
Right.
get it.
Right.
But then I moved back to Ohio, and it was just, hey man, join my band, join my band, man. I was in all these bands, and I went with the flow, and I had a lot of fun. And
And you guys are tight, like me and my brothers were tight. Like I said, you guys I could see you
took a
reading
while.
each other's minds, though.
Well, because
you know what I mean.
we had a lot of conflict in the early years. One, because of women, and two, it took us freaking years to really understand who each other was. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like he'd do shit to piss me off. I'd do shit to him to piss him off, not realizing it's just who we are.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Just
And
like
you
one day, he'd be
guys-
like, "Dude, why are you doing that like that?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he'd be like,
and
fuck you mean? And I'd do the same shit to
Oh,
him. Like, what the
absolutely.
fuck you doing? Like, I don't know. Like, all you gotta
'Cause
do
that's-
is that right there. And he's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I can't.
And before it would piss us off, like,
We
and
did.
that's like a Dalo thing. Like, we all our lives, our dad and grandma and all these Dalos expect you to be absolutely 100% perfect in every aspect of your fucking life. And you have that and
Expectations.
and then you just kind of like we look at each other. Why the fuck you ain't perfect like me, motherfucker? Why ain't
Right.
we'd be looking at each other like that.
That's
Well,
real-
I'm
that's the
perfect, why ain't
rivalry,
you?
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It took us all these years to figure out, no, dude, you're not perfect. You're an idiot, and we just got to accept each other as idiots.
Right.
I mean, you guys
And it
are.
is what it is now.
Once
So
we
we
realized-
now we're cool. We still have hey dumbass, and we still kind of sometimes, and I get loud and.
Right.
But we're
all
over that
fun now.
dumb shit,
Yeah.
like, oh, I hate you and I'm never gonna talk to you, shit. Nah, that ain't happening.
That never
That's awesome, man. Because like the future's looking really good, man. Like the stuff
I
that
feel
you
like we
have
got some shit
planned
going
and
on,
what we're
son.
doing is really interesting, and I like the fact that
Oh,
well,
and one more plug: Gattuso's to get your musical needs, and if you need band shirts, go on down there to the tag and get
My
you
kid
some
plays
shirts
guitar,
made. We're gonna get
Gattuso's.
some of our merch made.
God, he's been playing guitar the
And
whole time.
if you need guitar cases or road cases,
Or guitars.
Unitech, the sister company, go on and get you
Guitars.
some.
They got a lot of good guitars there too, and they're really
You need some
affordable.
tattoos going up there to old big time tattoos up again. Get you some, son.
I got a spider that needs fixed, so we could
These
talk
are our
about that.
sponsors.
I don't have anybody yet, and I don't want to represent falsely yet.
I'm kind of representing falsely, but not really.
That's all right.
These
they're
are
all
my
your
peoples.
friends,
Yeah, they're
right?
my peoples.
You know everybody.
People.
Well, I think it was a great first show, and we want to thank everybody for watching. We're not going to tell you to like and subscribe and hit that stupid
We'd
bell
never
thing.
tell you to do
We'd
the
never
thing.
tell you to do that because it'd be ridiculous, and
Yeah.
and we're tired of hearing it
Never.
ourselves. So you'll never hear us tell you to hit that bell.
Ever.
That's my least favorite part.
Wasn't
Is
you
that
going to
bell.
read the back of that toilet paper thing? Because
I was, but you know what? I don't think I will this time because it actually mentions a brand by name,
Oh.
and I don't want to get
He was
a
gonna do this
lawsuit.
funny thing.
We've already
but I
dropped
don't know.
enough
Yeah.
names, right? We'll read it next time for the Outhouse. It
Want
was
to thank
TP for the Outhouse.
Alexander the Great for being our background noise.
And yeah, Al, you did a great job. I hope it comes out as good as it sounded.
Playing
behind
on
us.
Larry's new guitar,
Yeah, and that is a beautiful instrument.
which I could
believe it.
switch the camera over if,
You know
if
what?
I had.
I can get up
Somebody
and we
did.
can just let him sit here for a second because
Well,
it's
you could
already
just
all
switch
queued
the
up.
camera over.
Oh,
Or
do
yeah,
that
you
too.
could- Either way.
Listen, I can move easier. I'll bet. Alley cat, sit down where I was sitting. Let everybody see.
He's been. He's gonna be our
We'll let
background.
him- you know what? Hey, dude, just let him play us out, man. You know.
Play it out, man.
Thanks, Larry, for being here too, starring as the big brother.
Yeah, Larry's guest star as Big Brother. That is it, because we got to use the bathroom, man. All this coffee and water. Yeah, for show, for show. Definitely thank you guys for hanging out. We'll be doing some more. We'll be doing some more of that live from the chicken coop with some bands. And until next time, y'all, peace on out. Yeah, you just hit stop. He's like, where? I don't know. Police. We need some people.